Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Backlot Banter movie review. My name is Tucker Hazel. I am joined by my co-host, who is really my old chum, Tanner Dykstra, and today we're here to talk about Meg 2, The Trench. No the. The first one had a the, but now we've just got Meg. And I was looking forward to this movie because I saw the Meg in 2018 with a big group of friends for my birthday, and guess what? It is, at the time of recording, my birthday again, and now I get to see Meg 2, The Trench, and get to review it with this here fella here, Tanner Dykstra. We've seen the movie and we're here to give you our thoughts, but if you've seen the Meg and you want to talk about it, or you've seen Meg 2, The Trench and want to talk about it, you can join our Discord. I think it's unlikely, but I just want to put it out there just in case, as a preventative measure.
Tucker, the people love the Meg. The world over
loves the Meg.
It's
making some money. Yeah, yes. It's making some money. Which, of course, we will be covering on Backlot Banter next month. It's going to be a while. But, Tanner, you've seen Meg 2, The Trench.
I have.
Let me know your thoughts on this movie. I would say it's a whale of a time.
It's a real meg of a time, after all.
Yeah, it's a meg of a time.
So, Tucker, I don't know what I expected going into Meg 2, The Trench. Because I saw the Meg all the way back in 2018.
Back in the day. Back in the good old days.
Exactly. And, the Meg sticks in your mind as big fun, big shark, Jason Statham fighting big shark. But a lot of that runtime is just kind of faffing about on a boat.
Yeah.
And the same is true of Meg 2, The Trench, where the trailer is three Megs eating a bunch of people on an island. And that's true for the last 40 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
But a lot of this movie is, instead of faffing about on a boat, faffing about below water. Yeah. And there's loose plot threads, and there's, flat, thin characters, and there's all these sorts of things. So it's not a good movie, but I did have a good time, so I have to give it credit there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I had a good time because, and this is something that we've been known to do with some movies, is we take a movie that we know is not going to be good, but we get ourselves excited to see it. And then, regardless of how it turns out, we're going to enjoy having experienced it regardless, and that is what Meg 2, The Trench was. It's a sequel to a movie I had to see for my birthday. It is literally my birthday today as of recording, so it's just a big joke to me. And I got to see Meg 2, The Trench, and I saw it with my brother and my dad, and my brother had a good time, my dad did not, and it was just an experience. But if we're going to do our job here as movie critics, we got to critique this movie, because
let's do it.
If it's a fun time, that's its own thing. But it's not because of what really the movie does, because this movie is confused, it is messy, it is poorly written, it is poorly acted, there are way too many plot threads that are picked up and dropped off for absolutely no reason, and it also it doesn't know what it's supposed to be. It doesn't know its own identity. And that's, I think, the most damning thing about Meg 2, The Trench.
Tucker, I want to run a couple of these plot lines by you here.
Perfect.
And just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down.
I am 30 minutes out of seeing Meg 2, The Trench.
Positive, negative.
I'm fresh.
Were they followed up on at any point in the movie?
Right. This is a fun game.
Yeah, okay. So there's an underground base that is mining rocks. Underwater, thank you. Underwater base that is mining rocks that are worth billions of dollars. That is below the... $1 billion each. That is below the thermocline. Is that followed up on at all in the movie, Tucker? No. Okay. No. There seems to be something signaling...
Or does it materially matter? No, the answer is no.
Okay, yeah. There seems to be something below the thermocline that is drawing the Megs to it, sort of like a sonar, like drawing it to them, and it brainwashes Haichi, that one Meg. Is that followed up on at all?
No, but I also think you're misremembering it. I think it's because it's mating season. I think that they're returning to where they came from. That I think is just a sort of a general thing.
I thought it was
ultimately it doesn't matter, so no.
Okay, yeah. What about the fact that Jonas Taylor is an eco-terrorist, fighting pirates in the middle of the ocean? Is that followed up on it all, Tucker? No. Okay, that's interesting. Because that's how we start the movie. Jason Statham... I feel like the filmmakers, the writers, the producers, whoever were like, we got Jason Statham. It's gonna be a while before shark action for whatever reason. We've decided that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Have Jason Statham beat some dudes up. He loves doing that, and so we do. And it doesn't make any sense. We don't follow up on it at all. He is just a guy who fights pirates now. Why?
That's what he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, he does that in his free time, and we just get a glimpse into it. And that is a part of, and all of these plot lines that you're mentioning are a part of why this movie is as messy and as confused as it is, because instead of following up on the Meg, which was faffing out about on a boat, but largely in the context of, oh god, the Meg is on the way, and it's focused on this one thing, and we're getting towards that climax, and we can feel the pressure building. This movie has a couple of acts, one of which is the second act in the middle is the longest part, and barely has Meg's present at all. And I think that is the most damning aspect of it. And I do want to mention that the reason I'm so conflicted on this movie, I do think it's bad overall, is I think that the tension and uniqueness of this underwater section is reasonably well done. I think it's totally fine. It's passable. Yeah. But it's also not what the Meg should be. And it's not what the Meg 2 sold itself on. And that's not what the Meg, the first one, was. And so, okay, it's weird from that regard. And then we get to the last act of the film, which, as you said, is those last 40 minutes. 3 Megs attacking an island, people on a beach.
And a kraken, like a cracking octopus
thing. And some like little dinosaur guys.
Yeah.
That is what the movie was sold on. That is what the first movie was, and that is what the identity of this movie should be. But it's also easily the worst part of the movie. This is where most of the plot threads are picked up and dropped off in poor ways. This is where the flat characters are at their worst. This is where the line delivery and editing are at their, by far, their worst. And so we get the first half of the movie that is totally serviceable, but not the identity of the film, what the identity of the film should be or what was sold on. And then we get the second half of the film, which is what the identity was, but is really, really poorly done. And so neither half supports one another, and they're at odds in really, really awkward ways.
It is a really awkward sort of divide, because around the time that we were spending a long time doing like the underwater suit trekking at the bottom of the ocean, is about the time that it clicked in my brain. It was like, oh, we're not getting above water stuff for a while. We're gonna be trapped down here in this poorly lit excuse to have our actors on a green screen for longer, and not like put them on a boat or in like a little pool for whatever reason. Just have them in an exosuit on a green screen for a while.
An exosuit that also obscures their faces. You can't quite tell who's who. Spoiler alert, I guess a couple of people die in this sequence.
What about our favorite character, Comic-Con guy? What about him?
That's true. Yeah, he did have a couple lines. God. Now, I want to talk about how poorly written this movie is on a structural basis. And I think it starts with that large-scale problem of it having essentially 2 plots in there. And then they just stop and we head over to literally Fun Island. And then that's just another movie, basically. That is a large-scale problem, but even on a smaller scale, when we're talking about all these plot lines, there is corporate corporate crap going on in the background, and
corporate greed, doing underwater mining, and do they want to harness
twist villains?
A couple twist villains. Well, should we just say it here? It doesn't matter. Spoilers for Meg 2: The Trench.
No one cares.
What's that character's name? The blonde woman.
Oh, all right. Let's pull it up here. Skylar Samuels plays. Actually, she does not have a name on Letterboxd.
I know.
That is why we can't pull her
up. But she's like, surprise, I'm a villain, and
she's a really bad villain.
It came so out of nowhere that I thought that they were going to do some like weird AI thing. Just because how she looked on the screen, I was like, is this the CEO lady making like a AI recreation of blonde woman to like trick them? But no, just on a dime, no reason, she decides to stab her friends in the back for money. Yeah. This woman who was in the previous movie?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think it's implied that she's known them for a long time, but that actress was certainly not in the previous movie.
Oh, you're right. She wasn't. That's wild. No. Okay, I definitely thought she was.
Well, and that's the interesting thing is this kind of picks up afterward. Yeah. We have a couple of characters returning from the first movie. Obviously, primarily Jason Statham and the girl who's kind of his surrogate daughter, who was the same actress, which is cool that she carried over. But plot-wise, other than the fact that we now have an institute that researches Megs, it doesn't really matter that this is
Tucker,
a sequel.
I think you're forgetting about the death of Fan Bingbing.
That's a great point. Yeah, who I believe the little girl is her daughter.
Yes.
And it's just very strange that this movie feels as disjointed from the first one as it is. It's like, okay, we're doing research now, and we've got some access to the trench, and we're going to be down there for a while, and then 3 megs are going to get out. And it just, it's very choppily done. And I think that can be applied to a lot of this movie, because especially once we reach that last act, there's like 5 things going on, and there's not continuity between which characters are where, or how they got there, or how many exploding spears they have on their back. That is inconsistently done. Yeah, and
I was trying to keep track, because it goes from like 3 to 4 back to 3 again, I think.
Yeah, the continuity is incredibly poor.
Yeah. That island thing is just like. So we have, you mentioned it earlier, we have these, like, dinosaur guys that are running around as well, because we need a presence of danger for the people on the island as well. Yes. They were in the trench. Yes.
They were, yes, they attacked them underwater.
And then just at some point, they got out. They just got out
and went 70 kilometers to Fun Island.
Exactly, precisely.
Yeah. These tiny things that swim pretty fast, but they don't swim that fast.
Yeah. But that's really just fodder for who are some of our tertiary characters. There's DJ. There is Zhu There is
well, I would say Zhu is a core character. I think that our core cast is Mei Yang, Zhu Ming, and Jonas Taylor. Yes. And the 3 of them are totally fine. But we also have a surprisingly large cast of supporting characters, none of which fulfill any particular role. They're just there to kind of yell.
I forgot about Mac. Things. I forgot about Cliff Curtis.
Cliff Curtis as Mac, classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other woman, who looked a lot like the CEO lady, so I kept getting, for a moment, I got them confused. I'm like, is the CEO lady on the boat with them? Oh no, those are 2 separate people. My bad. My mistake.
Yeah.
Bad stuff. Here's one thing I'll say about these tertiary characters. I did like that Paige Kennedy's DJ, like, joking in sort of a comedic way, grew from the last movie. As in the last movie, apparently, I don't remember, but he couldn't, like, swim, and he was obviously, like, unprepared. He was like the nerdy sort of freak out character or whatever.
Yeah.
And now he's like, he says, I learned how to swim, I learned how to fight. He's got his survival pack on him.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good fighter. I think that's pretty fun. I think that's a good way of, like, a lot of times in these sequels, it's sort of poked fun at that. How do these people keep getting in these situations and never learning anything new? Yeah. And we do actually do that for him specifically.
Sure. Yeah. Fine. But also, I think he's an incredibly annoying character who just spouts one-liners that sound, they're poorly written. He's just like screeching all the time. And it's like, what is this guy? Because the movie is also surprisingly self-serious outside of mostly him. He's really the only character that offers comedic relief, and everyone else is taking things real seriously. And these are some serious stakes, and DJ just feels out of place.
Sure. Okay. I get that.
Because the movie, on the whole, especially until you get to Fun Island, is very self-serious. This is a serious moment. We're trapped. We're going to die. Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
exactly.
DJ's barely involved in that first half of the movie. And then we hit Fun Island, and it's just at odds with itself totally.
It's bright poppy, where there's like a little furry dog running around. There's people on little squeaky paddle boats. It's like it is that really hard shift, that 180 that you were talking about. That's very odd, especially like when 40 minutes ago we were doing like a pseudo horror sequence with all these like tiny little dinosaur guys attacking our crew walking along the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, Tucker, what do you make of Jason I hate to say jumping the shark, because A, it's cliche, and B, these movies have always had ridiculous things.
And C, he does that.
Yeah. But what do you think of, like, the thing of Jason Statham surviving at the bottom of the ocean and swimming out through the bottom of the ocean by filling his sinuses with air?
I don't know
the science not air. Filling them with water.
With water, so there's so the pressure doesn't, like, implode his head in.
Yeah.
Is that
Fish don't explode down there.
I don't know. I feel like that honestly could be something that is...
There's no way that's true. They said they were 25,000 feet below the surface.
I don't know, man.
That's
you're right.
So
it's really
far.
ridiculous. And he's like shooting a gun, and you're getting fucking Jason Statham vision, and it's like, whoa, is he gonna pass out or not?
Yeah.
Oh, and then we
have to do our fight.
You also get you get a villain. I don't even know his name, and I don't really know why he was there. And but Menchetta, as portrayed by Sergio Paris Menchetta. Wait, his name is also Menchetta?
That's odd. Okay, continue.
He's just like a presidency's there for no reason. He's a money, wants a money
no,
guy.
Tucker, he's in love with blonde woman, and then she
for
dies.
1 second, and then she dies real quick. Real quick.
She gets the classic, don't worry, this glass is Meg-proof. Which is why you say that this movie is very self-serious, but it has those ridiculous moments that just endear it to you just slightly ever so often, you know? And you're like, maybe I do like watching the Meg movies. Maybe I do like this.
No, I do. It's a bad movie, but I do enjoy watching them. I enjoy just spending my time in the theater, going along with the cliches, having the characters spit one-liners.
Yes.
It's schlock, and it knows that, but I honestly think the reason that I am more critical on Meg 2 The Trench than I otherwise would be is it doesn't fully know that. It commits to a more self-serious.
We gotta go all the way.
A good chunk of it is at odds with itself, content-wise and tone-wise, multiple times throughout the film. If it leaned into its schlockiness, like I believe the first one did at least more, I would excuse the writing flaws and the poor line delivery and the lots of ADR that just shows up randomly occasionally. I would excuse those a little more if it committed to its identity. But this movie is consistently at odds with itself, and it makes it a confusing experience to sit through.
Here's what I'll say to the producers of the Meg, and by that I mean the Chinese government.
Yeah.
Just go all the way. Just don't hold the reins back anymore. Don't play coy with the audience about like, oh, you want to see the Meg eat people? You'll have to wait an hour and 20 minutes for that to happen. No. Just give it to us beginning to end. I don't care anymore. I want the real McCoy with Meg. With the Meg 3, okay? The Meg cubed Primal Waters, I think is what the book is called.
Yeah, then they'll probably call it that.
Yeah, hopefully. Listen.
And we've got like 7 other books to pull from.
Exactly.
So we'll be getting Meg movies for the next 30 years.
Yeah, this is what I'm about. I'm okay with these movies being bad and, well, they are bad. Being stupid, okay? I just want it to be more stupid and more silly. And then we get 8 of them, and they're all stupid and silly and fun, okay? We can look forward to them every other summer, every 3 years, whatever. And it's just a good time. Oh god, it has been 5 years. Maybe they can come up more consistently, too. Tucker, we can go to see one for your birthday every year. It'll be a grand old time.
I can't wait. We'll be back to review the Meg sequels. Oh, Tanner, scores? How you feel about Meg?
3.2.
3.2, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to go a little higher. The Meg series holds a soft place in my heart.
It's your birthday series, yeah.
It is my birthday series, so this is going to get a 4.3 from me.
Nice. Okay. Right on.
We'll see you guys for more Meg movies in the future.
And only those.
Oh, yeah. This is a Meg-only channel now. We're going to cover Meg.
Meg 3 rumors.
guys, here's what's going to happen in Meg 3.
Plot leak from Meg 3.